remember in that mime, there was a mime, famous mimer from the Rebbe Marash, V'kacha, I think it was called. This was called V'kacha. There was one, a Hemshech in a Parshas Nayach. Over there, the Rebbe Marash brings the Hafla that discusses how the svara, the logic that Hashem uses why to destroy the world is the same logic he uses why he's going to rebuild it. He says he's going to destroy it because the thoughts of man are bad all day. He says I'm going to rebuild it because the thoughts, he understands that the thoughts are bad all day, and so it's the one logic that gets used for both sides. Okay. Rabbi Yosi bar Rabbi Yehuda Eimer. Rabbi Yosi bar Rabbi Yehuda. You recognize this, Rabbi Yehuda? He's the one that said before that he can only bring one. His son, Rabbi Yosi.
Another opinion.
Yeah, but he elaborates differently, but he agrees with his father. He agrees with his father. He doesn't have to, but it happens to be. He does. There was a chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek. His name was Fradkin. It was called the Teres Chesed. Teres Chesed. He was a Rav in Lublin who moved to Yerushalayim. So he never quotes the Tzemach Tzedek in his Svarim. He says because he holds that the way his mind tells him he has to say what his mind says, that's how you have to learn. And if the Rebbe would say something and he would say, his mind would tell him differently, he would have to argue. He says, I don't want to argue with the Rebbe, I'm not going to quote the Rebbe in the thing. Because he holds that's how you learn. You can't just say, give cover to, you have to. But Rabbi Yosi Rabbi, that happens to be, he agrees with his father. Minayin la'aymer, from where do we know that if someone says, Harei alai minchas maifish layavi mechza chalas mechza rekikin, that if someone says he's going to bring a mincha that's baked in an oven, that he should not bring half loaves and half wafers, like his father holds, that you can't bring 5 and 5. He says, Talmud Laimar, v'chol mincha she'tiyafa b'taner. You have to look carefully at this. He uses the word v'chol. Any mincha that's baked in an oven, v'chol nasa b'marcheshes v'al machvas, and any mincha that's made in a deep pan or in a flat pan, or on a flat pan, I should say, to the kayan that offers it, it should be his. V'chol mincha belula b'Hashem, and any mincha that's mixed with oil, v'chareva, and a dry mincha, l'chol b'nei Aaron tiyah, to all the sons of Aaron it should be. Okay, so we listed the different types of mincha. Now, the last type that we listed was mixed with oil and dry. Ma v'chol amar lamata, just as the v'chol that it says on the bottom, that means at the end, was a mincha mixed with oil and a dry mincha. Shnei minim chalukim are two separate minchas. Oil and dry cannot be mixed, right? Yeah, either or. You can't have a square circle. It's either wet or dry, right? Af v'chol amar lamayla shnei minim. Also, the mincha that it says above has to be two separate ones. You can't mix them. That's his proof. That's Rabbi Yosi bar Rabbi Yehuda's proof that the mincha that it said at the beginning, which was a mincha that's baked in an oven, cannot be loaves and wafers. It needs to be one or the other. Just like at the end, when it said a mincha that's mixed with oil or a dry mincha, that means a mincha without oil, it can't be mixed. So too, the loaves and the wafers cannot be mixed either or. It's like a support for his father's opinion.
Dry or wet would be the...
Well, there's certain menachos that are dry. A mincha that's brought as a sin offering is dry. No oil is added to it. It could be mixed with water, but no oil was added to it. So it was machlekes if it was mixed with water. It was just brought as flour. But if you added oil to it, it was puzzle. So you couldn't have, in that mincha, you couldn't have oil. So too, the mincha that's baked in an oven has to be either loaves or wafers. You can't mix. If you mix it, it's no good. Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara asks, goes back for Rabbi Yehuda, Shaper Kamar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda says, what do you do? Rabbi Shimon told him a very good logic. It says it's one carbon mincha. Why are you saying that you can't have half and half? So Amar Lach, Rabbi Yehuda would respond. Amar Lach he would have responded. Kivan the ksiv bashemen bashemen. Since it says twice the word oil, come on the ksiv carbon common dummy, because it lists the oil twice. This is in. It says Seiles chales belules bashemen or kike matzis meshuchem bashemen, because it says the oil ingredient. It didn't need to say it twice. It could have said meshuchem, and we would have understood that it's referring to the oil. It's smeared with what we said before, the oil. Because it says it twice, it's as if it says carbon twice, and therefore it's two separate carbonas. And therefore it's not one carbon. You cannot mix them together. Okay, that's quite an argument. It says it's two separate carbonas. You can't mix them. It says bashemen bashemen. Reb Shimon, what does Reb Shimon respond? Eily ksiv bashemen bashemen. Without the bashemen bashemen, hava mina dafka mechza chalas and mechza rekikin. If it didn't say shemen twice, I would have thought that it needs to be specifically half and half. And you're not even allowed to bring 10 loaves and only 10 wafers. You would have to bring 5 and 5. I would say you can't do that. You can't have separately. Kamash Malan. That's why it comes to tell us that no, you're allowed to have only chalas. You're allowed to have only rikikin. But the fact that it says carbon, that means that it's one sacrifice. That tells me that you can have half and half as well. It's one carbon. Okay. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, Hainu Avua. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda is exactly the same as his father. Why do we need it to bring him? He doesn't say anything different. The Gemara says it could be Nayud Diavad. There is a difference. The difference is B'diavad. According to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, if a person brought half and half chalas, half rikikin, so just like if he would have added oil into a dry mincha, it would be pasul. So too, if he brings half and half, it's pasul. According to Rabbi Yehuda himself, according to him, it would not be pasul if you brought half and half. That's not how you do it, but it's not pasul. Okay. Hadran Allah Kol Menachos. Okay. Now, start the new parak. It's a very famous parak. Because in here we discuss the argument between the Sadducees and the regarding the day after Pesach. In this discussion, if it means Sunday, the day after Shabbos. In the Torah it says Mimachras Shabbos. The day after Shabbos you bring the Eimer. Does that mean Sunday? Hence the Goyim have a holiday on a Sunday, Pesach time, and but we say it means the day after Yom Tov, the second day of Yom Tov. So on the second day of Yom Tov, they brought a carbon Eimer. It was brought from barley, and it was harvested that day as well, that night. Problem is that night could have been Shabbos. Now, for us, Pesach never falls on Friday, which means the second day of Pesach is never Shabbos. But apparently, in the days of the temple, when they were using the witnesses to come, they didn't have the same rules of the calendar, and it was possible for it to fall on Shabbos. So Rabbi Shmuel Omer Hayabah, this is the new parak. Rabbi Shmuel says that the Omer Hayabah b'Shabbos mishalish sahin. When they would harvest it, they would harvest 3 saw of grain. A saw is 144 egg size, and 3 saw. What is that? How much is that? 144. Subtract 18. What was it? Subtract 18 off 450.
I went to law school.
Is 432? 432. About 432 eggs. Ubechol mechamish. On the weekday, you could harvest more, because there's no prohibition of harvesting grain on the weekday. So you would harvest more grain, and what you would do is you would sift it down until it was the finest flour. So how much flour would you use to get what you need? An omer is a measurement. An omer is 1/10 of an ephah. And then there's 3 ephah in a saw. So it's 1/30th of the 3 saw and 1/50th of the 5 saw. But the question is, would you use 50 times of it to bring it down, right? Or would you use 30 times? On Shabbos you would use less because of the prohibition there. Chacham say no, Shabbos in the weekday was the same. On Shabbos it was harvested with one person. We want to diminish, we want to minimize the violations of Shabbos. Ubemagal echad, it was used with one sickle. Ubekupa achas, and it was put into one basket. The commentaries discuss how one basket is diminishing the thing. How many baskets you have shouldn't really make a difference. The one person, maybe, versus 3 people is a difference. Ubechal, however, on the weekday, Rabbi Chanina Skana Kayanim says, he was in the Temple Times, we know Rabbi Chanina Skana Kayanim.
There's no arguing with him.
They argue anyway.
What?
They argue anyway. The Ubechal, B'shleisha, B'shalish kupes, B'shalish magales. On the weekday, they would use 3 people, 3 baskets, and 3 sickles. That's Rabbi Chanina Skana Kayanim says. Chachamim say, Echad Shabbos ve'echad Chol. Doesn't matter. Whether it's Shabbos, whether it's the weekday, B'shleisha. Was with 3 people. B'shalish kupes and B'shalish magales, 3 baskets, and 3 sickles. Okay. Bishlem Rabbanan, the Gemara says, we understand the rabbi's opinion, Kosavri, because they hold Yisarin Muvcha B'shleisha Sa'anasi, that you can get a perfect Yisarin, the choicest 10th of an ephah out of 3 saw. That when you sift it down, you can get that. So therefore, V'leishna B'chol, V'leishna B'Shabbos. And therefore, there's no difference. You use 3 saw on the weekday, you use 3 saw on Shabbos. In the Mishnah, we had a machlekes. Rabbi Shmuel says 3 saw is what you start with, and then you have to sift it down to an isarin. That's only on Shabbos, but in the weekday you need 5. The Gemara is asking, we understand the rabbi's opinion that's good, that 3 saw gives you the best. Ela Rabbi Shmuel, my kasavar, what does Rabbi Shmuel hold? I kasavar isarin muvchar lo yasi ela michamish. If he holds that you can only get a good isarin out of 5, so afila b'Shabbos nami. You're allowed to violate the Shabbos for the sacrifices. If there's a sacrifice that needs to be brought that day, so it overrides the Shabbos. The sacrifices were brought on Shabbos. So why is he saying that we have to diminish? If you can't get the choices, but you're allowed to do it. So do more. If you can get it from 3, so then why afila b'chol nami? Then why do you use 5 in the weekday if that's good enough? Amar Rabbi. Rabbi says, Savar Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel holds Yisarin Muvcha B'leitir Chasim Michamish. Without extra effort, you can get it from 5. But B'tircha, with a lot of sifting and a lot of work, you can get it out of 3. So B'chol Maisin Michamish. On the weekday, you use 5. Dachi Shvicha Milsa. Because this is better. However, b'Shabbos, on Shabbos, mutav shiarbe b'malacha achas bar kada. We rather do one malacha many times than to do several malachas. So one malacha of sifting, one prohibition of Shabbos, is better to us. We're going to sift much more rather than to cut, to harvest as a malacha, to cut, and then to thresh, and then to winnow, and then to grind, and then to sift. We'd rather do one malacha of sifting many times than to do all of those malachas for the extra 2 saw. Ba'al yarbe b'malachas harbe, and not to add in these extra malachas. Okay, let's leave it right here. Tomorrow Shabbos we learn at 8 o'clock.
Right? 8 o'clock. I'm just turning over.